Hello there, just a second. I'm just finishing setting up now, so be just a minute. Thanks. Yep. Yeah, Turdy, yes. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely one of my cars. I'm testing for the Lemon series. I need to mute myself one sec. Um, are you ready, kids? Aye, aye, Captain. And yeah, Lord Hands, I would play the song at the least, but I don't need a copyright strike, so we're gonna avoid that one today. Anyway, welcome to round five, Barcelona for tier six. Um, this is Moose, and yeah, we have a pretty exciting tier six championship at the moment. Um, say before we get into it, our top three in the drivers' champ. Actually, I'll say top four because we have a three-way tie for second place at the moment. When second place is the three for second place are only 1 point behind first place. Um, First place currently be Turdy in the Porsche 911, and then Quackhouse in P2 with the Mercedes SLS, and Name JS in P. Well, I guess with tiebreakers, this is the case. Tied Name JS with the BMW M6, and then Skittles as well in that tie with the Ford LM Spec 2. Very close championship there. We have a Senna or Emil Doomgun. He is not too far behind that either. And then there's a whole big pack for some other spots as well. Um, and also, somewhat close of a race in constructors. Mercedes SLS team leading with 161, Porsche 911 team leading with 150. With not leading, but they have 150 points. And in P3 is the M6 team with 135. So still pretty good. I am. Cool. Anyway, we have a had a 15-minute qualifying before this. The results of that lead to this race, the 15-minute sprint, which is followed by a 40-minute feature race with a reverse grid of the results of this race, with our tradition of Cracker being in the back. So, for quali, we had a very close between our top two, Turdy and Clouds here for P1 and P2. Turdy clocked in a 1 minute 41 second .050, and only 2 thousandths behind that is Clouds in the SLS. So 2 thousandths difference between the top two in quality. That is mental. A little bit more of a drop, but not too much, back to Lord Hands in P3 with the Porsche 911. P4, a few tenths back on that as well as Reese. Munkin for P5 and the Ford GT. Point in P6 with the M6. Skittles in P7. Some areas that's what is in game. with the Ford Le Mans car. In P8, Quarkhouse with the SLS, P9, Maka with the Ford GT, P10, Name with the M6. Not scrolling. Cracker in P11 with the R8 Evo, and P12 is Inorganic with the BRZ. Lord Hand said the front row got lucky. Fair, but that's still pretty close. So we'll have to see what happens in this race. I'm pretty excited to watch. So, 15 minutes of sprint about to start right here, and cool. So take a sip of drink real quick. Cool. Let us get started. 5 lights, and away we go for the sprint race of Tier 5. Point making some big moves there off the start, and him and Samarias, but Samarias gets, there's a bit of, we're gonna have to, so, Jordy's still waiting for Tier 4. Well, at least he can watch a good Tier 6 race here. We're off to a banger start, I think. Just gonna watch from Munkin's POV. It looks like Samarias tries to get in the gap before Point can cut him off, and gets thrown completely off to the wall. Name going in side by side with Reese, and Munkin getting a little contact there from what looks like Schumacher. Go back up to our top 3, who are definitely pretty well off, avoiding all that chaos. We're going to have a position change here between Clouds and Turdy, actually. That was off the start, I guess. Yep, directly off the start. So Clouds with a banger with the SLS. And the screeches of chaos behind. We're pretty short grid today, surprisingly. So back to it. So we got the 2 M6s on P4 and P5. So good couple moves up there for Name. That was all the start there. Not sure how that will be in the steward's room. But those results are not out yet, so we have no idea. I don't know if that was recorded anyway. Name getting a little late break there, he'll tap the back of Point, his own teammate, and he'll drop a spot there to Reese as well. And go back up, because Turdy seems to be closing in on Clouds a little bit, who might have jumped that curb a smidge. Not sure, no, doesn't look like it, so Clouds is just fine. See, Quackhouse, who was in the Leader Drivers' Championship not too long ago, is finding himself in a huge fight for the championship. And he is going to make a little bit of contact with the back rear of, or the back right of Name. Schumacher unfortunately has a second half penalty, so that would have happened pretty soon after the penalty marker. Samaria is unfortunately still trying to catch up back, probably pretty frustrated, understandably, with how that started. Should highlight here Cracker's pretty sweet livery off of a brilliant movie called Spaceballs, and yeah, that is beautiful stuff. I'm glad the livery showed up for the race. I was a little worried about that. sometimes it just doesn't work. Lord Hand's dropping a little bit of time to who he was chasing in P2, Turdy, and has to serve a half-second penalty, which is going to put him in contention with Reese here, who also has the very nice Space Pals livery. And he's not going to lose too much time. The two battling up front are probably not at full pace, and Turdy's starting to push on Clods quite a bit. Clods is going to go a bit wide, which is going to set Turdy up with a better line and for very good pressure as long as you can keep it in off the sand pit. Gravel pit. Oh, Turdy going a little bit wide as he loses a good bit of traction there. Still with a bit of fresh tires. Lord Hands with a 2-second penalty now, and he's just stacking it up with 2.5 total so far, unfortunately. It is a not great start, but the thing is, there's still... everyone's pretty spaced out behind. So situation not too bad as long as you keep it together for the rest of this race. Keep an eye definitely on the top two. I think we have a pretty good battle brewing here. Turdy taking it a bit easy with his MR car. And it looks like Reese is going to be trying to maximize his gains on this 2-second penalty that Lord Hands is about to serve. Wondering if Lord Hands will drop back to as far as Munkin, but he seems to be keeping good pace so far. A little bit off there, but he should be okay. And yeah, definitely the spot to Reese, and Munkin is going to get him just by a little bit. Every additional like half second of penalties you can accumulate here, it was just absolutely brutal. 1 second will make you feel stationary. So I can't imagine what that 2 was. Go back on Turdy, who's still put pressure on Clouds, and Clouds got a little bit off the curb. Those are my cats here. What's up, buddy? Boy. Why are you looking at me? Go eat your food. This cat's got like a full bowl of food sitting there, and he is not. He's just not eating. I don't know why. Closing up a little here. We have a little battle here between Lord Hands. God. What happened? Oh yeah, drop the spot to Munkin. We're gonna back it up here. I'm sorry, I got a little distracted. So Name here seems to be much more comfortable on his tires, and he absolutely sent it past Lord Hands, but Lord Hands will take that corner much more smoothly and ultimately keep the position for the moment. Name is going to go on the inside and brake just nicely and late. Just late and nicely. Speaking today seems to be more of a challenge than it usually is, so we'll get there. Point now putting a lot of pressure on Lord Hands as he goes on this very, very long right-hand bend. These BMWs seem to be generally more comfortable on this track than the 911. I'll check back in on Turdy, Lord Hands' teammate, in the battle for P1. Oh, Lord Hands is going to push it a little bit too much, and he's going to go off, and that's going to let Point, who got through that corner pretty nicely, take that spot off of him. Point goes a little wide though on the turn. I don't know if there was contact there. looked like there was a little contact, but I'm not too sure. Point keeping it on, and get a little bit of traction loss there. And Quackhouse is back at it and putting pressure on Point now, and a little bit of contact that possibly there on the rear of him, and that's going to destabilize the car just a little. So Quackhouse will pull through for now. We'll see how they break into turn 1, as our top 2 drivers of this race so far are far and away in the lead. That is one hell of a gap there. These two are just on their own pace today, apparently. And that's a Clouds. Clouds are currently P8 as of round 4. Post towards standings. Turdy goes a little wide, clips the grass, and slips out, but he's not lost any pace to Clouds right there, which bodes pretty well for him. He's able to control that mid-engined car quite nicely. And Clouds, look at that tire wear. His front left tire is well more burnt off than this Porsche is doing, so I think it might be a matter of time here for Turdy to get past Clouds. Taking a look back real quick. And still in P5. This is quite the battle we have going on here. So there's between a P8 Clouds and the current leader of the Drivers' Champion, Turdy. Seems like he might have just a slight advantage here. We still have a little less than 6 minutes left in this race, at the least. See at what point they cross the line, and Turdy goes on the inside, and Clouds is really just having a really difficult time keeping his tires where he wants them. And yeah, that seemed like a matter of time there. Clouds is going to go inside a little bit, late break. I think he's just putting the pressure on Turdy to try to force a mistake. But we'll go a little bit wide there as well. Tricky right-hander there to end sector 2, and he's going to get actually a half-second penalty off of that, so just making his job just harder and harder. The little tiny mistakes, unfortunately, and the tire wear is pretty rough, so as long as Turdy can keep it clean, that this looks like a pretty successful sprint race for him. But also does put him second to last in this tier for the feature race, so we'll see what happens. Quackhouse struggling just a little bit as well, but Point in the M6 is not too far behind. We do have this group here with Reese, Munkin, and Lord Hands, all with the possibility of finishing the sprint with a podium. Lord Hands going in late, but still taking the corner well as Munkin struggles a little bit near the apex of it. Lord Hands does seem to be kind of getting it back together here as we get late into this race. Still has a good opportunity for good points. Actually, as it stands, Lord Hands, this would be his equal to his best finish of the season, and I think he's been finding more and more pace as we go along, which is great to see. And one of the many drivers in this tier who have stepped it up over the season, and also in the off season beforehand, so got to a much quicker start than I think anticipated. And Claude's just dropping time. Looks like he might have had a penalty earlier, but he is almost completely worn through that front left tire as Turdy in front of him speeds on. Only kind of seeing probably more of the effects and drop off. Not even quite yet. Pretty consistent times as of late, and probably will be on pace with that for this lap, so no drop off for him quite yet. As his times have been pretty consistent, yeah, since he got past Clouds about 2 laps ago. Clouds dropping about half a second and second and a half over the last 2 laps. Turdy actually putting in his best lap time for the last 2 previous laps. So even getting slightly better pace out now, getting into his rhythm in his late tires. If that makes any sort of sense, as we still have our battle for P3 going on. Pretty spread out, looks like. Brake is stuck, so and nobody has any tires in the back at all except for Inorganic and the BRZ, which is pretty good on tire wear, but unfortunately it lacks a lot of top speed, which I found out the hard way last season and watched things completely fall apart for myself. Yeah, that was a tough season in that car. Lord Hands going a little bit on the inside, maybe a little bit daring of a move right there, but Munkin will keep P4 for the moment, as Reese in P3 in front of them is probably pretty happy seeing them fight, as it slows the 2 down. And Turdy is just completely off in the distance. We'll have to see how quickly he gets through the pack in the future race. We'll see that pretty soon, as we are on the final lap for the sprint. And Turdy has had a brilliant race. Oh, absolutely had to try it. No, I don't blame you at all, Lord Hands. It was daring. But I think, still a good race though. Little slippage there. We have Turdy with P1, Clouds in P2, Reese in P3, Monk in P4, Lord Hands P5, Blackhouse in P6, Point in P7, and his teammate Name behind him in P8, Crackovelli in P9, Schumacher P10. Sorry, behind them. We're Inorganic for P11 and Smurrias in P12. So, We will move on to the feature race. Oh, an exciting start to the feature. Says with a wink emoji. It says Lord Hands, so we will have to see. I am scared if we're really gonna have a more exciting start than the sprint race, then anything could possibly happen, and we'll find out in just a minute. So we have a reverse grid minus Cracker, who, yep, that 30, thank you. Just in time for me to point out that Crocavelli, for the first time this season, has not started at the back voluntarily. I don't think he's earned that starting at the back at any point. I don't think so. But yeah, let's get some points here and not start at the back. Cool, that's great. Love to see it, honestly. So a little more competition with Cracker in it. So yeah, reverse grid from the sprint result, and that puts Turdy and Clouds in the back, and good old grid here, and we'll get started. 3, 2, 1, and go. Green light. And with a rolling start, Crocavelli off to a absolute ripper. Schumacher is still has seemingly a brake issue and is on the racing line, and I don't. That's not what you want to see. I'm sorry, Lord Hands, you didn't deserve that one. That's an unfortunate peripheral issue, and then I've had stuck brakes, but I usually just I would pull the pedal back, and I would usually unstuck unstick itself. But I advise not racing if you're having such an issue, because it does make you very prone to incidents, such. So climb back here for Lord Hands. Clouds. What is going on here? I didn't even think, yeah, Clouds just gets caught up in this. So he has to slow down a lot there for the incident, and yeah, Turdy just kind of takes advantage of where he is in the line at that point. So, back to the front, we still have some areas, and an organic. Crocavelli up one spot there, and we have the two BMWs of name and point battling it out currently for P4 on this opening lap. And Quackhouse, I think, looking for a much better result than he's had in the last few races. Few as in 2 races, because the third race ago was the P3 in the feature and a win. So he had a P10 and a P8 last week, which set him back a little bit in the Drivers' Championship, and I think he's going to be looking for a much better result today. Point has a little bit of traction troubles, I think, getting out of the corner. Reese, who has a half-second penalty, gets a little bit of contact coming out of the double right-hander at the end of this lap, and is going to get knocked back a bit, just to kind of kick him while he's down a little. I don't think that was intentional, of course, but certainly not what would want to happen after getting probably a silly half-second penalty. And Organic as well with the half-second penalty, and he's dropped a P5 down 2 spots. As Munkin goes through, Cracker now putting some pressure on Name, who has made his way up to P2. What is happening here? Smur is just off on his own now. Okay, I think this will help. sort out what happened. There's a lot going on at the moment, so yes, we have quite the lap 1 here. Cracker kind of struggling getting back onto his line for this set of corners, and Name pretty much taking his time through it. The M6 handles pretty nicely there, and Name will get a little bit of draft, and as they go on to lap 2 and into turn 1, they'll be side by side, and it looks like Cracker is going to brake much earlier than Name, who managed to get through the corner pretty decently, for being a little bit on the inside for that turn. And Point here getting past Inorganic, which I think where we left off. House up a spot as well as Reese is still not getting the best of luck around the track. Inorganic getting a little bit of rear end, and he's about to serve a penalty as well, so that'll put Reese and Inorganic probably in the same spot. Turdy just trying to survive getting through what's going on in front of him, as he is now side by side with Quack House and kind of gets stuck behind Reese just a smidge as he comes out of his penalty being served, and a little bit of side-by-side contact here as Quackhouse is really trying to push himself back on the line pretty much through Turdy. They'll take back P7 for now. Munkin here trying to show Crocavellia on the inside. Won't get the line for it, but instead Point, the M6, will take a better line, more normal line through, and if he had a little bit, if that car had a little more acceleration, would have passed Munkin, but that Ford GT is quite quick in a straight line. Oh, loses a little bit of rear end on the curb, and some more contact here between Quackhouse and Turdy as they keep battling it out. Lord Hand's not too far behind. Turdy on the inside here as we get out of Sector 1. What is only the third lap, and Quackhouse will get right through as Turdy gets a bit too deep into the turn. I think we're all on medium tires. Yes, except for Inorganic, who's on the softs. Perhaps trying to take advantage of his tire wear. Point and Reese getting into a bit of a kerfuffle. A little bit of contact going both ways as Point goes into P4 as he tries to catch up to his teammate in P2. And is struggling just a little bit getting traction underneath him. Name is starting to catch up, I think, a little bit here to some areas as Samurai's. Sorry, I keep saying that wrong. So Name is catching up. Reese here has gotten a great exit here at the end of lap 3 to 4, as we'll go side by side again into turn 1. Reese with a later break on the inside. Point tries to set up for a good exit, and I don't think it's going to be quite enough as Reese looks to stick the position for now. Crocavelli not too far behind, trying to get back into the rhythm of things, but he does have the current championship leader, Turdy, directly behind him, adding on to that pressure. Quackhouse here with a half-second penalty. So he finds himself behind Turdy again. getting a good exit and looking to go on the inside here and brake a good bit later. A little bit of contact, but not too much. Coming off of purple sector 2. So he is just starting to turn up the pace, and we'll see if he's able to catch back up to Name, who now has a pretty sizable lead on his chase to Samurai's. Turdy up into P6 as he continues to charge from the back and off his sprint race win. And that'll be also his second sprint race win of the season, as he had his first in week 2. Cracker struggling a little bit on this turn as he needs to get a bit more traction under. Quackhouse and Lord Hands putting on a bit of pressure, as well as Quackhouse I think found himself behind because of Cracker's penalty that he served on the previous lap. But Cracker will lose 2 spots off of some slight mistakes there. Inorganic with another half-second penalty, unfortunately, and Clouds in the back after a really tremendous sprint race. Hopefully be able to cobble back together a good result for this. We still have 32 minutes left. Plenty of time for anyone to do anything. Point losing it with Turdy directly behind him, as both of them lose their rear tires for just a second. Reese putting on a fast lap, so that'll belong to him for the moment. But we're on medium tires, so we won't see the race fastest lap until we pit for softs. We still have a good bit of time for thinking about that. But a 42.3 is quite good pace for medium tires at this point in the race. So we'll have to see if he's able to keep closing the gap to Name in front. And Name is definitely closing in on some Samurais, and I think we'll possibly see a battle between the two before we go to pits. Samurais does have a slight tire advantage at the moment. He's probably half the degradation that Name does. Samurai's putting on his personal best so far in this race. I think he's been trying to save a little bit of tires, playing a bit of a long game. But that will be quite a good bit of time taken from Name there, as he's just trying to catch up, but finding himself a little bit behind. Reese dropping a bit of pace on that last lap as well, as we have Munkin and Turdy and Point in a nice group of 3 right behind him. And Point as well struggling a bit on tires, as his teammate is. And Turdy is up a good few spots. I think we have one DNF, I think. DNF with Schumacher. Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot about the brake issue there. I got distracted anyway. On my own. Turdy really getting close here on Munkin. And Munkin a little bit less tires remaining for him, as Turdy is on definitely some good pace at the moment. 42 and a 43 in the last couple laps. It's pretty solid. Munkin taking a bit too much curb there. Turdy's going to be a bit cautious and back off a little bit and just make sure we're not going to have an incident here. Turdy will brake a little bit earlier as he tries to set up an exit for himself. But Munkin will keep it squarely in front for them for now. Lord Hand's putting good pressure on Quackhouse. He's going to go on the outside and open himself up for a really nice exit as Quackhouse watches it a little bit and goes on the curb. That'll give Lord Hands the ability to go on the inside here. It's a little bit of contact for Quackhouse, but still remain in front for now. He's going to find himself the inside. That's not going to be great for getting that exit. But Quackhouse doesn't really have anywhere else to go, so that'll be a position for Lord Hands. But a little bit late brake there. Keeps it steady, so no harm really done. Quackhouse getting a bit on the curb and a little bit late on the exit. Quackhouse will go brake in late to try to turn in, and he's not going to gain too much of Lord Hands, who does seem to be flying a bit cleaner at the moment. That gap has opened up again between Samurais and Name for the lead of this race. Name is on a nice 3.5 tenths taken off of his best so far, off his fastest lap of Sector 1. Still, these three are very close together. I think they're just trying to ride it out. Ride it out, not cause too much commotion. Keep tires alive. That's probably certainly Point's main goal at the moment. Keep them tires alive as long as you can. Quackhouse is pushing just a little bit as he tries to catch up back to Lord Hands. Yeah, very much pushing with his teammate Clouds behind him, and Crocobelli's dropped, unfortunately, a good few spots here as seems to be having a bit of trouble, as opposed to his teammate Reese, who is now chasing down P2 again. Listen to this. I can brake late, but Turdy getting to P4 with that move. So, yeah, we're back to where we were. We're gonna start thinking about pitting here. Some of our drivers will, as with the 16-minute mark. Turdy moves up to P4 from starting P12. He is absolutely loving this track, I think. I think we're going to see a battle between Name and Reese before we go into pits for either of them. Name is much closer to going to pits than Reese is, though. There's that much to say. Oh, Name just... Oh, no! No, no, no. Oh. Oh, that's brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Name tries to, I think, cover off the inside a bit too late and kind of messes up his exit in the process. And the race is just, I think, trying to put together a way to get through without hitting him, but fortunately that does not happen. Name will drop all the way back behind Lord Hansen, now P6. And I think he might be headed into pits. Still very early, I think, for going into softs, but that is a pretty frustrating thing to happen there. So now we have Samurai still well off on his own, and with that battle, which will drop Reese back a little bit because of that incident, that'll give Samurai's all the more space that he definitely loves at the moment. Turdy now on P3 with a podium mid again, and off to a good first half of this race. So he's moved up 9 whole positions. And Name still very much struggling on his tires, and I had the same struggle myself in my M6 for the Tier 5 race on Monday. That was not a fun time. And Name's gonna break, I think, okay, but can't really get into the turn well enough. Kind of knocks Quackhouse a little bit. What kind of tire management is this? That's a great question. Man's just rolling and putting in some very scary, consistent times. All in the low and mid 43s for the past 5 laps, which is mental. Hearts must have been in the wrong blankets, says Lord Hands, and that's hilarious. Yeah. Just cruising. And starting to put some pressure on Reese in P2, who's definitely got some trouble with his rear left tire, which Turdy is definitely not. And despite having the fastest lap, it's dropped not too much time in the past few laps to Turdy, but enough where Turdy is now starting to breathe down his neck a bit. And apparently the tire management is a Cork thing, so... Carg. Samurai's in for another lap as he's only a little over 8 tenths off his personal best, so still on pretty decent pace as it stands, and a good lead here as we get into definitely the second half of this race, as we're in the 21st minute. And Turdy continuing to put pressure on Reese, as we have, I think, a tale of tire wear yet again. That's actually going to be inorganic in for the first to pit, past the midway point. First to pit at all, so not surprising we had to go that late. Name here still struggling a good bit, but Cloud's with the half-second penalty in front of him. Name is effectively no front left tire. Probably hasn't had any front left tire for the past 3 laps. BMW does not like this track at all. Cloudcow's probably thinking about pitting, and Point definitely will be with a 1-second penalty that'll drop him a place to Lord Hands behind him. Will find himself in P5 again. Cloudcow's too far back for that to matter to Point, or matter to him. Samurais will be pitting off of the lead here, off his medium tires, and Reese will continue on. Turdy will come into pit. Munkin goes through. Lord Hands goes through. Point goes through. Cloudhouse looks like he will. Clouds probably will. Name might be coming into pit. Yeah. Yep. Please stay in the lines. So close, so close. I think he's going to be alright though for penalty. Hopefully so. So Turdy, Samurais, and Name pitting on lap 14 for the second pit lap here in this race. Name still coming in. Crockevelli will follow the Samarias out of pit, out into turn 1 from the pit lane. I'm not making much sense. Lord Hands starting to put pressure out here on Munkin for what is currently P2, and probably more like P5, I think, still actually. No, P4. Yeah, P4 for the moment. Lord Hand sneaking in a pretty good move to the inside, as Munkin seems to be just having a lot of trouble, but Munkin's going to get great grip here on the outside, which is not what I expected to see. Despite having completely burnt front left tire, this might be Munkin coming into pit. Yep. He'll come into pit as he probably has just about a lap of fuel left. That'll put Lord Hands into P2 for now. Point will come into pit as well, off P4. Clouds through with no tires, but his teammate is in. And Turdy just trying to get past Crackavelli, who's snuck past him probably pretty recently. But that's Turdy right back past Cracker, who's on his last lap. Clockhouse into pit as well. Munkin should be popping out here soon, with Point just behind him, depending on when we release for fuel. They'll release at the same time, so that'll be Munkin out first. Good few seconds out in front will be Turdy, and Crockevelli will be pitting on this lap. There's no fuel left. Probably see Lord Hansen, possibly Reese, as he's looking to the last bit of his tire wear, and seeing if he can pull off another lap. There's no real undercut here at Barcelona. It doesn't really work as well, so it's definitely why we saw a lot of drivers choose to pit much later than usual. Usually you have somebody pitting 15th, 16th minute. Not today. That was not in the cards. As Turdy's already a good few seconds past Crackavelli. just after getting past him a few turns ago. Reese into pit from the lead. Lord Hands in as well. Clouds likely will be in. And he will. Samurai's with fresh tires. Definitely still has provisional lead. Well, not now he will have the lead. It's not very provisional. It's very, very, very real as he sets a fastest lap 4/10 off the previous one with a time just under 1:42. Turdy, good few seconds behind him, but there is still plenty of time in this race with just about 13 minutes remaining and a lot of soft tires to be used. Reese coming out of pits in P3, so that bodes well for his race as Lord Hands comes out in losing P4 to Munkin right out of the pit lane. But Munkin is going to be on one lap worse tires, older tires. Point, who's definitely enjoying seeing a new set of tires on his car, is in P6. Quackhouse, good few back in P7. Cracker coming out of pits here. It looks like it'll be P10 with Inorganic a few seconds behind him. I will be right back. I'm sorry. I didn't realize my girlfriend was at the gate. We have one key, so I need to let her in. I'm sorry. I will be a few minutes, but I will be right back. Hello. Very sorry about that. That is my fault. Should have timed that a little better myself. We have one gate key, and I have to run down and get her sometimes. So it's just life, I guess. But kind of excited now too. Back to it. Sorry for the little break there. Yeah. Thanks, 3D. I like where we live, but the thing is, they only give us. Did I say tier 5? Ah, for fuck's sake. Yeah, I'll try to change that. I don't know why I always say tier 5, because I still kind of forget we added a tier again, so. I don't know. I don't know if I can change this. Yeah, you're welcome for the temporary promotion. So we haven't had our actual tier 5 stream yet. I know tier 4 is waiting on theirs as well. Munkin late on the outside, but I'll let Lord Hands right through. But then Munkin find better traction and insane acceleration, honestly, to keep P4. But now we have Point, who's sneaking himself into the inside there of Lord Hands, and he's going to take B5 off of him for a second. And Lord Hands does not want to give up that position. So we got a bout on our hands yet again. Quackhouse up into P7, and Crockerbelly really struggling here, unfortunately, in the back with traction. Yeah, Turdy with a very quick 41.7. Still a little ways off of his quality time and the best qualifying time for this tier. 7/10 off that, roughly. What you got? This trio, which have been battling it out for quite a long time in some fashion, they're probably very exhausted after getting out of this race. Cannot say I would blame them. Lord Hands on the inside of Point, he goes late, a little bit too late unintentionally, I think, into the corner, and finds himself on a very long way around as a screaming cat in the background. Say hi to the chat. Nope. We're just gonna sit on the headphone cord. Hi. He's a very nice cat. He's a bit dumb, but he's very nice. Meow indeed. Lord Hand says meow. And he's just rubbing his mouth on my thumb. What are you doing? You're not by the water, guys. We have a little bit closer gap here. I think Turdy's closed the gap a smidge here. Almost half a second on both the previous laps. Caught up to the Samurai's. Nice to yank my headphones off my head. Don't appreciate it. Go eat your dinner. Yeah, about a second over the last 2 laps, and even so, last 3 laps starting to change the tide here on our battle for the top 2, as Turdy starts to dream of getting a little bit more of a gap in his championship lead. Trying to get away from the fray of a 3-way tie for second place, which is still crazy. Will definitely not be the situation following this future race ending in 7 minutes. Lord Hands gets a little bit of contact there, and a little accordion up, coming into sector 3. go into a series of right-hand turns. Quackhouse catching up as well with a personal best on his previous lap. That'll be a second faster than points lap there. As we just continue to jumble around our positions and see if Quackhouse has a shot here to get back at the end point of this race with another personal best there, which is definitely still improving on what point is able to put up with his currently half-dead tire situation. Looks like Samurai is having a bit of trouble off the exit, so we're going to keep turning it real close here. And this is looking to be a nice battle here to finish up this race. Samurai is really dropping a lot of time and feeling that pressure. As you can see, he's kind of pushing it a little bit too much into the turns. Goes off smoothly there. That's going to be a good entrance into this double right. See if you can nail the exit. Not too bad. Turdy's still pretty much copying the pace at the moment directly behind him, but that'll be Samurai's dropping a second and a half, which is mental off of Turdy only being exactly 1/100th behind his personal best, which was just a lap before, and he is chewing through these tires quite a bit. And for him to be able to keep such consistent pace, also the lap before that was less than half a tenth of a second. As he'll set a purple sector 1 here, still plenty of lap to go to try to steal that fastest lap point. But he also has to focus here on chasing Samurais and that beautiful prospect at a double win. After a very hard-fought sprint race between Turdy and Clouds, and unfortunately Clouds has found himself with a bit of bad luck in this feature and is now P8 behind his teammate Quackhouse P7. And these three are still going at it, which is mental. And Point has had, I think, a bit tougher a time getting past with which I would probably blame on tire wear. That front left tire making life quite difficult around this track. You're trying to make moves. It makes life not very fun. Closing it up Munkin though, he's having a little bit of trouble, and they're almost identical on tire wear at the moment. See if that straight line advantage that the Ford GT has will be able to keep it up, because he's definitely going to struggle in corners, but he should possibly be closer to Lord Hands by the time they get to the turn 1 here. Probably not quite the case, but be pretty close to half splitting the two drivers after really struggling at the end. A few turns at the last lap. Turdy here still definitely putting good pressure on Samurais. Yeah, that is kind of like the one quirk of the M6 is you're in a late situation like this and you'll hit this turn exactly. You'll be like, okay, this is a good entrance, and then all of a sudden you have all this oversteer and you cannot just stay in track, which happened to me a good few times and lost me definitely 2 positions at least through the 2 races, just off of like going wide on turns because of what other cars would consider not too bad tire wear. Really, this is the circuit really, I don't think is a good match for the M6. It's definitely one of the more frustrating preparation weeks I've had. We are getting to the late bit here at this race, just 2 minutes. Lord Hans had a moment. Oh, I was trying to like distract everybody, man. You did have a moment. Oh, you had 2 moments. You had 2 moments very close to each other. I think that's what happened. You just lost the back tires. Oh. Story that I've told myself many, many times. Fortunately, Lord Hans will lose a few off of that. That was only one mess up, actually, I think. Okay, keep it straight there. I was only one. It looked like 2 when I was backing into it. That'll put holy point here. Just we need to go back. So unlucky, yeah. Point here, making a move on Munkin late on the inside. Munkin not a lot of space on the outside with the grass staring right at him. Point, a little switchback late on the inside as well, yet again. And that'll give that position to Point as Munkin has a bit of trouble getting out of the corner as Point flies away, and we'll have to unfortunately watch again Lord Hans from another perspective as Point flies past and gets his P4 for the moment. Reese still in P3, and then Turdy here behind some Samurais. A little bit wide as well. Hopefully not a penalty off that. So we have a minute and a half left in this race, and a few battles across the track at the moment. Munkin coming right back at Point and trying to gain that position back, and he does very smoothly as he really maximizes that Ford GT, into the last 2 points of that lap as we move on to our final lap of the race. Quackhouse catching up as well and putting some pressure now on Point. Yeah, Ford GT will laugh all day, and I'm sure the Ford GT boys are going to have a hell of a time on Monday. And I'm very, very, very happy in our tier there's nobody with the Ford GT or the Ford Le Mans. So we don't have to deal with it. I'm not racing anyway. I'm going on holiday for the week, so I will also be doing, just so you know, we'll be doing the stream probably, I want to say Saturday. I get back on Friday and I have to do some things and life bits. Get my stuff back together after being away for a few days. We are pushing on to the last few corners of this feature race, and it looks like Turdy will not be able to put it together quite enough to get past Samurais, who's just been on a hell of a race. Absolutely brilliant for both these lads. So Samurais P1, Turdy P2, Reese, who struggled quite a bit throughout that race in P3, but I think that is a very great result for him. Honestly, very well done. Pull up standings here while we watch Munkin come into P4. Tier 6 results. Quackhouse P5. Clouds in P6. Oh, no. What happened here? Oh, I was not paying attention. I'm sorry. Oh, no. Ow. Point on the outside, he's fine. And then, what happens here? It goes wide, maybe? What happened? Oh, we're a lap behind. Oops. Yeah, okay. Monken P4. That makes sense. Point with no tires on his M6. Quackhouse there putting some pressure on. Quackhouse knocking, I think, Point really to the outside and just plowing through. I think that was very questionable. Definitely into the stewards. Anyway, Quackhouse P5 for now. Clouds P6. Lord Hands in P7. Point unfortunately dropping a good few bits there with a, I think, avoidable accident for P8. Name in P9. Inorganic is finishing up his lap there with Crockavelli out of fuel, unfortunately, and that'll be a nail in the coffin for a very unfortunate race, I think, for him. I do hope we see him not at the back voluntarily again for next future race, because we've got I think he's missing next week, or Le Mans as well, on Monday, as well as myself. So that'll be Inorganic for P10, and Crockavelli will take a good few seconds here to cross the line. And the fastest lap will go to Reese. So that'll leave today a very successful day for our current leader for the second week in a row for Drivers' Championship, Turdy, who has 143 points, and he'll have a 14-point lead on Skittles, Samurais, and P2 in the Ford Le Mans after 12th and first place finish today. Quackhouse will drop, I think, to P3 with a 6th and 5th place, and I think there's going to be a steward's decision there that'll affect that as well. Name will be on P4 with today's P8 and P9. Senna did not finish the race today, unfortunately, because he was not there. Clouds is in P6. Senna, Emil Doomgun in P5 with 90 points. So that'll leave still pretty close, top 4. At this point in the season, we still have 3 weeks left. Le Mans will be on Monday, and I'll do my commentary probably on Saturday, as I said earlier. Clouds in P6 with a 2nd and 6th place finish today, drawing his best result of the season. With 84 points, Reese in P7 with 2 P3s. A very successful day for him in the Audi R8 Evo. With 76 points. Schumacher with the unfortunate DNF today in the feature. I think it had a brake issue at the end of the sprint, which led him to leave. So that'll be 67 points for him. Lord Hands in P9, up to P9, with a 5th and 7th place finish, with 63 points. M. Dimmitt, who missed out today, in P10. Munkin with 2 4th place finishes for him, and that's also a brilliant drive for him today. Result for him today, and his best results of the season, at 54 points. Ficino P12, but he is a reserve, I think. Point in P13, with today's 7th and 8th place finishes and 45 points. Crocker in P14 with a 9th and 11th, and Inorganic with an 11th and 10th to cap our active drivers off. That will leave for Constructors' Championship 209 points for the Mercedes SLS team, and 206 points in second for the Porsche 911 team, and then in third for now we have 160 points with Team BMW. Thank you very much for joining, if I can say that much. Get that out of my mouth. Thank you very, very much. Good luck to everybody on Monday, and I will be looking forward to hearing about what happens and seeing what happens in about a week. Have a great night.